Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. It's Mary Ellen. I'm just doing the silly tech stuff that I have to do in the background. Welcome to Moonrise Cottage for the October Aquarius reading from Loughcrew Passage Tomb at long last. And thanks so much for being so patient. Uh, Please just send me a little message. Let me know that you're here while I finish setting up the slideshow. I have some pictures to share with everyone. And again, very grateful to have your presence here while I learn my live stream, brand new live stream skills. I will, what's happening is after these videos are done and posted to the channel, I'll go back and edit some of this out so everybody doesn't have to watch it. I am still in the, I don't know, post travel adjustment period and doing my best to get these readings out because I know everybody's really waiting and has been waiting for a while. So, thanks again for your patience and your love and support of me. There's my face. Hi, everyone. So, if you haven't been to any of the other live streams, I'm just going to remind people and let folks know. I am not a techie. I am doing my best to skill up as rapidly as possible. However, there are a lot of things that I have to manage in the background. There's a streaming software that has multiple windows. Then I have the, hi Lisa, hi Carrie. I have the slideshow to manage, etc. So Lisa and Carrie, welcome. I'm just sort of doing my spiel about be patient with me. So let's see. I'm going to continue on, and I'm looking at the live stream. It's telling me the connection is not good. I'm hoping that's a momentary thing. I don't know how much to pay attention to that. But if you're having a problem, let me know. It looks like the connection is strong on this end. So I'm hoping that you are able to see. Hi, Davina. Utica, Kentucky. That's awesome. Hey, Carrie, I have not found Virgo. Darn it all. And you know what? I think that was the first live stream I did. I'm guessing I did something wrong. And I try to be patient, even though it's frustrating for me too, because I'm, just, I'm so busy with all the things that are going on here. But I think I'm just meant to re record them. So I'm trying to find a date to do that. It's probably going to be over the weekend. We have a couple days of rain coming up here, so I won't have a lot of power. Thanks for your patience about that, okay? And as soon as I have a date, I'll put it out there. All right, let's see. Hey, Lisa, where are you? Salt Gulp. Salt Gulp. I love the creative taglines that people come up with. I would love to know where you folks are. If you want to tell me that, that'd be fun for me to know. All right. So it's 6 after. I'm going to toggle over to my studio, and I'm going to do my best today to keep the chat stream in my view. That's a little bit of a challenge for me. All right. So one moment. I'm going to toggle over, and I will show you some of the photos from Loughcrew. All right. So Loughcrew is a particular is the tomb that is associated with the throne. I mean, people call it the chair, but I'm going to show you a picture. Clearly, when you see it, you know it's a throne of Queen Maeve. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that today, but I urge you to look her up. And I believe the original spelling of her name is M-A-B-D. And it might be D-B. I can never remember because it's so out of the ordinary for me. But amazing woman, extremely powerful. So when you go to Loughcrew, same thing as going to Fort Knox. You have to go and collect the key from someone. You have to put a deposit down. And actually, at this site, you were required to give something of importance, which I loved it. Metaphorically, I had to leave a credit card or my driver's license or my passport in exchange for the key. And I was a little taken aback by that, but I understand why they do it. And again, in hindsight now, I love it. I just thought, how wonderful is that? That I have to be demonstrating my intent for right action and for my desire to be able to go into this tomb. So it's up on a big high hill, and it takes a few minutes to get there after you collect the key. It took me probably, I'd say, it. I didn't time it, but probably 20 minutes or more just to walk up the hill. And all the way you're going up this hill, you can't see your destination. You just have markers pointing you and asking you to stay on the trail. And then eventually, when you come up high enough, this is what you begin to see in the distance. There are lots of different markings, stone groupings, and the tomb itself is set on top of this very high hill. So around it, just a little bit below it, are these kinds of markings. And it looks to me, especially the one you're looking at now, that there are other tombs. This it has all the significance or all the markings, if you will, of a passage tomb. There are curbstones around this mound. It's adjacent to the main tomb. I didn't see an entry. It doesn't mean there is not one. That's one of the things I learned on my journey. Okay, let's see. Here's some more stones. And so, you walk up to this place, and it's very formidable. And like I said, you see all of these kind of quasi cruciform. I don't even know what to call it. So I looked at these areas, and I sat here for a little while. It was pouring down rain, and the wind was blowing. The rain was actually coming in sideways, And I was just sort of in a mindset of, well, I'm here, and this is the weather, so oh well. I just want to sit here for a while. So there's a place where you can see there is another opening. That is not an opening to the main tomb. So there are clearly, on this giant hilltop, multiple tombs. I don't know if they've all been excavated or not. And I would like to show you. I wish I had a better camera. That's Queen Maeve's throne. Look at that. So from the top of this place, while you're standing there, you can see for, I don't want to overstate it, but many, many, many miles in all directions. It's not, I don't think it's officially a mountain, but it's like standing on a mountaintop where you can see 360 degrees. And it was so beautiful. Just, us in the Western world, we talk about the Shire, right? That's in the various movies and stuff, and, the stuff of legends. That's exactly how it felt. The greenery and the beauty of the fields and the view that I could see. So in one of the other videos, I talked about the swastika that's on Queen Maeve's chair. And here's a picture. You can't see it incredibly clearly. This was very clearly a seat of power. And I don't know what the rocks behind that, I was wondering, let me transition back. If there at one time had been another opening here or some other ceremonial structure, But the legend has it that Queen Maeve would, reign from this place. And the act of sitting on that symbol was the act of, it's interesting. The word that's coming through is becoming a companion with, spirits tell me, all that is mysterious in this realm, the things that you and I can't comprehend in our day to day life. And it took a very formidable type of person to be able to manage that experience and sit there and write livelihood and rule, if you will, over a vast area. And Queen Maeve was very powerful. She was known to be somewhat, well, you know what? I'm going to say it, but I want you to understand that the use of language has a lot of assumptions built into it. So Queen Maeve was known to be uncontrollable. I think what that means is not submissive to any person, anywhere, ever. Because clearly anybody who could sit in this place on top of a passage tomb to rule their territory, formidable human being, no matter the gender. And, the fact that it was a woman, very significant. And the little bit of research that I have done, I know, isn't that, Davina, isn't that amazing? Hey, Sarah, I see ya. Oh, you are welcome. This is so much fun for me. Hey, Lisa, you're in Tacoma. That's awesome. All right, so sorry, I interrupted myself. So, yeah, the fact that this woman, I think, married a succession of, 5 or 6 kings. She was highly sought after. She was an incredible warrior. She was, divinely ordered very clearly. And I have not had time since I've been back, because I've been trying to do this, along with working and all the other things that are going on. I haven't had time to really drill down on the research, but I'm planting the seed to be able to go back maybe next year and do some deeper exploration of these sites and go to some of the tombs that I haven't been, as well as, Goddess willing, allowing me next time to do the sacred journey that I was intending, which was to go to all the sites of sacred feminine power. And there are many. And so this was the last place that I went. I literally got on the plane the next morning and flew home. So I'm hoping that's a message from Spirit for me about, yeah, it's okay. We're going to let you do it. Here's a little present for you. Just a preview, okay? Since, you did what you were asked to do. That's how I'm hoping. Who knows, Yeah, to marry the land, Salt Gulp. That's right. In order to be a king. Oh, really? I see. This is why I love doing this, because you teach me so much. In order to be a king, you had to marry Maeve. Wow, that's wonderful. So then, and Salt Gulp says the name Maeve was interpreted as mead. Yes, I saw that. One who intoxicates, reflecting her role as sovereignty goddess. Isn't that beautiful? I'm literally getting a chill just saying the words. Okay, so give me a sec. I'm toggling in the background. All right, so this is sort of what you see coming up the hill and walking around the outside of the passage tomb. And it is, for me, it's, I feel the energy, I guess. So it puts me, I often have this experience in places like this where I'm here. I have to use my intellect. I'm, trying to take pictures. I'm doing what I'm doing, and yet I'm truly feeling the energy. It's pulling me across a little bit. So next time I'm going to try to be a little more 1 foot firmly in each world so I can take better pictures. All right, so here is the entryway to the passage tomb. So you have to circle around counterclockwise from Maeve's chair to get to the entryway of the tomb upon which the chair sits. and they've made it a little tricky. You have to sort of stick your hands through the gate and fuss with the lock upside down. And again, while I was doing this, I was thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this lock open. They've made it difficult to get in here. I don't know if that's intentional, but it's the way it is, and it's really appropriate. So if you've seen any of the videos that came out of the Four Knocks passage tomb, you have an idea. This place was smaller, and yet I would say more powerful than the passage tomb at Four Knocks. This is very tiny. And if you look deep into that photo, you can see that there is a stone that blocks off half of the entry to the main chamber. I mean, you have to work to get into this place. And I had many of those same experiences where, I had to sort of stand there, gather myself. Now, I was suddenly at a female seat of power, and there were a lot of gateways, metaphorically, that had to be crossed, including a long journey up the hill, which I also thought was just really appropriate. So, same experience. You open the gate, and there you are. And luckily, there was enough light. It was raining so hard, and the wind was blowing so intensely that it was almost raining sideways. So when I see this picture, I think, my gosh, I'm shocked that turned out. There was no sunlight illuminating the passageway. So, same thing. I had to sort of stand there and gather myself and give some thanks and begin my walk into the place where you then have to climb over that stone to go into the main chamber. And in there, as you can see, there is no light. It's really dark. So I was, again, having that experience of, a little just human fear and trepidation and all that kind of stuff. All right, so I'm just clicking through. All right, here's a picture of the main chamber, or looking into. And if you look, there's, just standing at that stone that you have to climb over in order to get into this chamber. And there, right in the center of the photo, is the main altar bowl area. And if you look to the left side of this photo, you'll see some carvings. This tomb had more carvings in it than I had seen anyplace else. And they were, some of them similar, but predominantly in a way very different than anything I had seen in any of the other tombs. So again, it has to be a language of some type to describe experiences. So once you step in, like all the other tombs, there are 3 altars. Okay? That's the one, I think, to the left side. On the inside of this place, there are a lot of glyphs on the inside. And so while I was there, I was just finishing up the Leo card pull, and a nice young couple came along, and they had slogged up the hill in the rain. And, they said, is it okay if we come in with you? And I didn't want to say no to them. So I said, sure, come on in, and it surprised me. I guess I have a certain kind of deference for these kinds of places, and I do not enter lightly. So I'm asking permission. I'm always trying to feel the energy to make sure it's okay for me to be there doing what I'm doing. And the cards came out rather nicely, and then these nice folks showed up. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Let's see what this is going to be all about. So we had a nice connection, and the young man, without any hesitation whatsoever, stepped into the altars. And I didn't say anything, but a part of me was like, what? Holy Moses, really? So it was I felt the sacredness of the space in a way that was different than he did. And in the end, of course, it was a blessing because what happened when he got in there was he had sort of a camping light. And so he was shining his light around the inside. There's one of the other, I guess, altar bowls. I don't know what else to call them. So that's the second one. So these two are on the sides, okay? And then there's the main chamber. So this nice young guy, he stepped right in without any fuss or bother whatsoever. And I was standing next to him. And, because he had this light, I said, do you mind if I come over and just look over your shoulder? And guess what? There are all kinds of carvings and glyphs on the inside. Of course, I hadn't thought about it when I was in Loughcrew. But of course, absolutely there are, because this is the place from which transition happens. So I'm just going to show you some of these. I've stacked some of them up side by side. And again, I wish I had had a better camera. So I'm just going to go through these. They were much different than the carvings that were in the other passage tombs. So again, I'm not an expert. I don't know if I'm correct. But each passage tomb seemed to have its own energy set point, and the carvings and the glyphs, and not the form of construction, but sort of the way the inside of these tombs, each one was really unique and different, I guess as you would expect it to be. And this place had a very particular theme, and I'm going to show it to you. So there were a lot of these carvings that looked like circles, not so many spirals, things that seemed to indicate the emanating of energy from a point. And it's hard not to look at them and interpret. That was the challenge that I was having. I thought, Spirit, if possible, let my eyes take the information in and keep my brain out of the way so I can take it in and perhaps understand it. Because, my brain would say, oh, it's a carving, a picture of the sun. I don't know. Right? We have no way of knowing. So here, I'm going to now toggle over. Check this out. Look at that. That was sort of the theme that was going on inside of this place. And there was a lot of that. And then inside the actual ceremonial bowl placement altars, there were things like that looked very celebratory. These carvings that you're looking at now, those were impactful and large and commanding, if you will, in terms of the visuals and the size of the carvings. So this type of carving had, carved into giant rocks. So I could only take pictures of sections of it. So that's one section. There's the other. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? And again, standing there looking at it, and I'm thinking, am I looking at the universe? What am I looking at? What could it possibly be? It's fascinating to me. And I'm looking forward to having time to doing some research and looking into these things a little bit deeper. So these were stones that were decorating the outside walls around the altar bowl creche. I don't know what to call them. So here's some carvings from the inside. The inside of these altars were very decorative. It seemed very festive and celebratory to me. But again, a lot of different symbols. And you know what? Look at this one. Just the mood, again, in each one of these altars, the mood was different, if you know what I mean. Look at that. So that's inside the main altar. Beautiful carvings, very diverse. Not the types of things I saw anywhere else. Quite unique and quite lovely and interestingly uh, thematic of the spot. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, I've got another shot of that one that I showed you just a minute ago. There you go. I'm sorry that they're not bigger. Look at that. I mean, there's a lot going on in that photo. A lot. And a lot of different symbols. A lot of information, I believe. Maybe it was just an expression of emotion. I don't know. And, sadly, I don't have the ability to enlarge these as I'm sitting here with my computer. So there's another one of those external stones that are on the chamber walls versus the carvings that are inside the ceremonial altars. They were very, very different colored stones, very light, as you can see, as opposed to this, which really looks kind of intense and serious. That looks like fun. And again, that's my human interpretation. I don't know. Okay, here's some more. That was from inside one of the altars. One more. And then we'll get to the cards, okay? Look at that. Just, all kinds of symbols. This tomb, the altar bowl areas were highly decorated. And so, as I was standing there, I thought, darn it, I didn't have the chutzpah, so to speak, to go inside these areas when I was at Null. So if I ever get to go back, I'm going to go with a flashlight this time and I'm going to check it out and see what's in there. Because I would love, I'm having the fancy that maybe somewhere online somebody's done the research and has that type of discussion. Let's see, who's here? I know, Davina, aren't the spirals awesome? Oh, you started a business and the name is the Spiral Path? Congratulations. Hey, Sarah, thank you. You have the same excitement and fear when spirit shows up. It's not a small thing, is it? Hey, Steve. Glad to hear you. Oh, speak up. Okay, thank you. You know what? I'm going to increase the sound. When I did the sound check with the computer guy, he urged me to turn it down. How's that? Let me know, you guys. Is that any better? I was afraid that it was going to be too loud. When we did the sound check prior to the streaming, I don't know, a week ago, it really was loud. So, okay, let's see. I see your question mark, Steve. Does that mean you don't know? You can't tell? All right, I'm going to keep going, guys. So, here I am, pondering all the things I've talked about. I'll see if I can speak up a little bit. And outside the tomb, this fairly intense storm is raging on. And the wind, was cold. It was a cold, gray, really heavy rain, and just driving wind, and partly because I was on the top of this incredible hill that you have to climb up. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Sarah. It does. It is. I thank you for that word reverence because that's exactly the correct word, and I think that's for me. So when the nice young couple came along, I was standing there in my state of reverence, and all the things that happened to me, and emotional, psychological, spiritual basis in this journey, and then these young folks came along, and they just just came in and they were chatting, like it just was lost on them, or that's really negative. I don't know. It didn't affect them the same way, or they didn't have the connection, or whatever. So I thought, I guess, and they were lovely. I mean, truly, they were just the sweetest. So I think it's good that these places are locked because, anybody could go up there. And so I'm glad there's a little bit of gatekeeping going on. They were fabulous and respectful, but, they stayed for like 5 minutes and they were gone. Like a regular tourist attraction. Okay, we saw that. Yep, go, let's go to the next one. It was kind of like that. So, anyway, that's kind of the foreshadowing of the story that's going to come out. Steve, you see Taurus and Scorpio in this pic? Tell me what you mean. You mean cards from those? You're talking about cards that indicate their energy, yeah? Oh, okay. So I have to speak up. Thank you, Steve, for letting me know. I am as I don't know how old you guys are, but I used to watch Seinfeld back in the day, and there was one episode that talks about the low talker. I'm one of those people. So I'll try to remember to speak up. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah, who knows, Sarah? I don't know. I try not to be judgmental. But it was just an interesting interaction. I'm still processing that. So there was I had to have a willingness, even though I literally had no control, to allow them to come in. I was literally in the middle of pulling the Leo reading. So that's also something I'm going to speak to at 1 o'clock. So, who knows? That was the experience. And these nice young folks came, and, on some level, they had the light, didn't they? I would have never gotten these pictures if they hadn't shown up. So I'm just taking it as a little gift of the universe. And they have, they were on their 10th anniversary or something. They were just adorable. And they looked too young to have been married 10 years, but that was the story. Okay, so here comes the cards. And because of the weather and all kinds of things, I did not take pictures of every single card with apologies. I will go through them with you, but I'm going to toggle over and show you the cards, okay? There we go. So that's Aquarius at Loughcrew. Look at that, guys. Isn't that amazing? All right, I'm going to toggle back to live so you can see me, and we'll go through the cards one by one, and I'll do my best to keep my eyes on the stream as well, which I think should be a little easier for me today. Okay. One moment till I get there. There. Hi, everybody. Welcome once again. Okay, so hang on. I'm playing with software. There we go. All right. Steve, you're saying the lower left is the bull. Really? We'll have to have a conversation about that at some point. Send me a message on the thread and tell me more about that, okay? I'd love to hear it. Okay, so here we go. Both readings that came from this passage tome have this card. So that's a major arcana, okay? Right over the top, the spiritual message. All right, give me a sec. The balancer. And it's just so bizarre for me. So the balancer is here. This is an indication in some, depending on what you think about, what you believe, a Libra type of card. But it's about balancing energy. Being out in the mystical realm with the flow of all that energy swirling around. And what I love about this is that apparently it's female. And you see how this image looks as though this person or this being has been split down the middle and rewoven? I love that. So clearly it's about opening and balance and travel and shift and change in a way that's profound. So that's the message the Spirit wants to talk to today when this reading comes out. Because I've been forgetting to say this. I pulled the cards, but I didn't do the reading. And that's why I took pictures, because I thought, there's too much going on. I don't have the equipment with me, so I'll just bundle this up and take the intention home with me and do the readings from there. So this is the first time I haven't sort of allowed myself to look, if you know what I mean. Okay, so there we go. That's the message. That's the theme the Spirit wants to talk about, and that is the light for this reading. Okay, what's coming through? The topic for conversation. Obviously, I use different words, but that's a little download that I just got. All right, so here's what's underneath. Let me toggle back just for a second. Okay, so look at the next card to the left. That is the card that indicates you and your energy and the challenge or the blessing, whatever word you want to put on. Spirit's telling me both are true, a challenge and a blessing. There you go. The elopement, okay, of art. So anyone who was here yesterday, you know about this card. The elopement of art is a story about two people who, Spirit's telling me who were enticed into going on this journey, and it was something that happened rapidly for them. They heard about this thing, and there's this golden bowl, and there's treasure, and they decided, let's go check it out. Let's look for that. And they did. They found it in this place. Looks like it's, lower chambers of a castle. And they climbed up with glee, Spirit saying, onto the platform, getting ready to take things, treasure, wealth, things made of gold, Spirit saying, cups and things like that, out of the bowl to take them home so they could have a comfortable existence. And they got stuck to the bowl. They put their hands on it to steady it, Spirit says, and get ready to take stuff out of it. And that's it. They were stuck. And they couldn't get themselves free. And then they had this experience of watching the river of life streaming around them, and they were no longer able to join it. So this is not hang on, sorry, I've got a little something. All right, so Spirit's talking about not giving people grief about having abundance. Abundance is our birthright. But, being able to identify what is abundance and the things that we have, the items that we have, it's important to keep that in perspective and to not give that our life energy. Certainly use those items. I just bought a new computer. I have a car. Things like that, right? I don't make that the center point of my life. The items. It's interesting. That's the word that's coming through. I think I don't have to say too much more about that. So the journey that's happening at this point from now through to the solstice, thank you, Spirit. I'm being reminded. Spirit really wants me to talk about that. It's a conversation about how you wield your power in the face of abundance and the type of abundance that you have available to you as you it's interesting. I'm going to toggle back for a second. Hang on. All right. So looking at the general spread, clearly there's a lot of change. And in each one of these readings from these passage tombs, there has been a significant acknowledgement of challenge. So the words that were just coming through, look to the left of this card. So that card is about obstruction and how do you deal with obstacles and not giving your power away and being clear about how to wield your power in a situation. And so that is, and you see how the King of Battle, not to be a spoiler, but the King of Battle is on the right side of the center line. So clearly, Spirit's saying, this could be a challenge. You are being given some sacred challenges to understand that which is sacred. That's what it is. That's why the story about the young couple came in. So there are things that are being revealed to you about the sacred realm. And it's important to balance yourself and to use your energy so that you don't get stuck on, okay, so here's what's coming through. On either side of the equation, don't fall into, okay, there are all kinds of words coming through. It has to do with focus, where you put your focus, and how you wield your power. So part of what's coming through is the intention that Spirit has when you're gifted with abundance. There's a way to draw that to yourself without getting stuck to it. Thank you, Spirit. It took me a while to spit that out. And to wield the abundance so that your process continues and you don't get stuck in a place. Woo! Okay, it took a minute. There was just so much coming through. So that's the challenge, Aquarius, because you guys are movers and shakers. You make things happen, don't you? And, very forward thinking people most of the time. So there is a journey that you're undertaking in order to move you forward from the place where you've been resting. I think that's, Spirit's telling me, don't assign a negative to that, but that's part of the message. All right, so you've been resting in this place. You've had your adventures, right? And now it's time to continue from there on to the next step. So look at that first card in the human line. That is also a major arcana card. That is the Rememberer of Lore. And I love the progression. So, balancing your energy, becoming able to move forward from a place perhaps of being stuck in certain ways. Spirit's talking about one of the words that's coming through is unable to see. So I'm going to leave that to you to interpret in your own life. And, like I was saying yesterday, it's just a process we're all in. It's really intense. So the Rememberer of Lore, let me toggle over and hold this up for you. Okay. So there's the Rememberer of Lore. Look at that. Beautiful male energy. And you see the string instrument? That's about vibration. And this person's job is to be the sacred bard within the community and be the wisdom holder. And to strike the instrument and set up the vibration in order to transmit that wisdom from within himself out into the community. So, when we see that, so we started there, right? It's, again, the metaphor of passage tomb, not lost on me. So this is what this passage tomb is speaking to you about. It's about coming to this place, a movement of your internal vibration, because the wisdom and the knowledge that you hold within yourself is meant to go out into the world, into the community, on the vibration highway. And, look at the color of the card. There's a lot of regeneration there. It's really beautiful. There has been a transformation. And so that musician sits inside that beautiful circle of transformative energy. And yet, in the same moment, emanating out all that beautiful pink, highly, Spirit saying, highly ordered energy of knowledge and healing that goes out from you in this way, Aquarius. And so yesterday I was talking about the type of energy that is apparently shining out into the earth from Pisces and Aries and Taurus. So this is the energy set point that's coming out for you from this particular place. And so what Spirit's saying is, and that has its own story, obviously, right? So let me toggle back so you can look at the cards while I grab the next one and get ready for some little bit of discussion about this. So check it out. Look at that. That's amazing. That's another major arcana card, the Protector. All right, so this is the Rememberer of Lore. That is the Protector of Lore. Look at that glyph. Look at that. This person has, if you look at the clothes, whoops, I have to move my fingers. Okay, so a couple things. Transformation due to the color of the garments. Male energy, intention, will, movement, intellect. And clearly, this is about your passage through the Lion's Gate portal and all the abundance that came with that. Oh, thank you, Spirit. Okay, that's, sometimes I feel like it takes me a while. I feel a little thick in the head. All right, so that's what we're talking about. Look at that. On your human journey, managing the abundance that came through for you and into you when these portals opened over the summer. And, it's interesting because this is the only card in the deck that has has a glyph on it. And it came out in this place where there were the most prolific carvings of any of the places I visited. I didn't see anything like that in Newgrange. Doesn't mean it didn't exist, but nothing like in this little tomb. Okay? And you see how he's, oh golly, look at him. He's all marked up too. So there's a particular type of energy that's causing you to move and that has come into you. And Spirit wanted to speak to you from this particular passage tomb about our progress that has happened already in the year. This is so disconcerting for me. Okay, about our progress that has happened already in the year, okay, and going forward in your human walk. This is very profound energy. Once again, a different energy set point. Am I showing it to you? Okay, but there is definitely a progression. So when your energy moves and you learn to wield your power that has come through, Spirit's saying, be fluid. And you are, right? As an air sign energy set point, your energy flows in a very particular way. And in some ways, it's meant to be free and evolving, not stuck on anything, not on a concept, not on a thing, not on, okay, Spirit's talking about what we see around us. So that's a little bit of foreshadowing. I'm already sort of getting the chatter that goes with, you see the sacred hag up on the top left on the spirit line? So there's a little bit of, I'm getting some preloads, basically. So let's finish the human line. Look at that. That's the elopement of knowledge. So Spirit wants me to hold this up too. I'm getting some homework. All right, see that? If I can get it into, okay, see those three? That's the download that I'm getting. So let me just put some of these cards down. I'll go through. Okay, when this change happens, it may be disconcerting. This is a lot of travel, a lot of shape shifting, in some ways with fear attending to it because there was not an intention to go through the transformation that it was experienced. So it's a story about a goddess who had a child and she wanted to imbue her child with knowledge. So she made a sacred brew. She, put it on a fire to simmer. It was supposed to simmer for a year and a day. So, whatever is this journey that you're on that's going to cause you to let go of some of your current thinking and perhaps behavior, who knows? Because what you have inside of you is this, right? So, okay, I'm getting it. So, what Spirit's talking about is, this is about sharing. Oops, this one. That's about sharing. This is about having. That's the difference. So, Spirit wants to just have a conversation with you about the request that you share that which you know in this way, with this type of energy, by sending the vibration out, just like does happen, Spirit saying, when there's this kind of an instrument, right? When you strike those strings, it sets up a certain type of vibration, and everybody within a certain range can feel that. So again, a lot of messaging coming through about being in the vibration, your energy set point, freeing it from that which binds it. And again, this message keeps coming through. Okay, so all right. So there's more about, I was in the passage tomb. That, in some way, what Spirit's saying is representative. So there is a lot in there in those sacred bowls. And it's time for that information, that energy to flow out into this world that we live in because of the portals. That's part of this message. All right. Thank you, Spirit. It took me a minute, didn't it? Okay. Back to this. All right. So the goddess hired a young lad to tend the fire, so this brew could do what was meant to do as it was developing for a year and a day. Okay? In order for the evolutionary change that was meant to happen for her child could take place. And of course, what happened was the fire boiled up, the brew boiled up, it started to boil over, and the young kid that was trying to tend the fire reached out like that, and it splashed on him. And it was hot. So he stuck his fingers in his mouth. Guess what happened? He imbibed all the knowledge that was existing instead of it going to the intended target. So, as we progress through these cards, just sort of try to keep hold of all these ideas. So there's a lot of change that is going on that is going to balance your experience and your understanding and your knowledge of the sacred generally is what Spirit's telling me, okay? Because there's something that you're going to come into a set of understanding about your vibration and how it affects the world around you. It's really beautiful, all right? So this young guy, shape-shifted because now he had all the knowledge, he knew how to do it, to run away from this goddess because he knew she was going to be terrifically angry with him. So this is about fear and overwhelm. That went on for a while. Every time he shape-shifted, she just did the same thing because she had the ability to do it, okay? And she just kept chasing him. So, in a way, part of our human experience is that we change and we shift and we engage with our fear and we run from spirit and we run from the spirit realm in the ways we do because it's overwhelming, right? We don't know. Some of us, when we start down this road, we don't know what to do with all this energy. What are you supposed to do with it? I mean, that was my challenge. One of my challenges for many years. I just kept saying, well, okay, my answer is yes. Whatever you want me to do, I'm there. But I have no idea. What do you want me to do? Right? And it caused me to sort of go through something like this, right? And Spirit lovingly just kind of chased me down over a long period of time until finally I had an initiation ceremony finally, and then right after that, Moonrise Cottage started to okay, Spirit's telling me a word. It's talking about, the guides are talking about gestate. That's interesting. Inside of me. And then it came to fruition. So what happened in the end of this story is finally the young guy turned himself into like a kernel of wheat, and he drove into the wheat pile, thinking she'll never find me in there. And of course, the goddess turned into a hen, dove right in after him, found him in a millisecond, gobbled him up. And then she gave birth to him. And he was, in his new form, a great poet, a great holder of wisdom. One of the greatest poets and wisdom holders that existed in that time. Okay? So that's the process that you're undergoing. Standing here in this place, though this is about the wisdom of the ancients, standing on the ground of the ancients, having been going through a transformation process in the light that exists and with an enormous amount of abundance that's available. And you know what's interesting? This card sits on the table right below that. Let me toggle back so you can see it. Look at that. They're not in perfect alignment because that was literally the floor of the central chamber. I was just putting the cards down on the floor because there was no other surface for me to put things on. So it's very interesting, again, to look at how these cards are aligned in vertical and horizontal rows to help us tell the story. So, going forward, as we move through this type of transformation on the human journey, the bridge to the spirit realm is an obstacle. Isn't that interesting? So you see the center line just above the Rememberer of Lore, just above him is this card. Look at that. See that? Again, there's the river. That is a magical girl. She's a maiden. She's betrothed to somebody she doesn't want. She's trying to figure out how to get out of it. And so what she does is she uses her power, and she had a lot, to find out the weaknesses of the person she was betrothed to. And, basically, she caused that person's death. And once again, the river of life flows alongside her. But she was found out, of course, and she was turned into an owl and vanquished into the forest to live out the rest of her days. So, again, a message about how to utilize your energy in the moments when you have an obstacle or you face a challenge or something is opposing you. I mean, we all know what that's like. We've had those experiences. Spirit wants to remind us and ask for your help to remind those around you, because it is your vibration going out in this way. And actually, you know what? See how that sits? Let me try and position back. Look how they sit. So the Rememberer of Lore sits right below the revelation of skill. This card, this story about this young girl, she had to go through this misuse of her internal power because she was magical. She could have taken care of the situation in a much different way. She didn't. She made a choice to misuse her power, thinking that she was powerless, and nothing could be further from the truth. So when I see the progression of these cards, it's telling me that this part of your nature is coming very much to the surface. And the reason that this is here is to just inform you that from here, perhaps coming through the portal, okay, now there's going to be a really rapid progression. And you might have some challenges, some obstacles. Spirit's saying, this is your passage to the spirit experience. When this happens, whatever it is in your own life, you may find something come along that's going to really challenge you. Okay? And basically, the message is don't give your power away to the negative. Don't do it. It's not worth it. And if it does happen, if you find yourself in a situation in which, and we all do this, right? At some point, after a situation's over, you go, oh my God, what was I thinking? Why did I react that way? How come I couldn't control my energy? It's part of the process. Don't blame and shame yourself. Do the best you can in every situation that stresses you, because that is part of what your learning is going to be about. Okay? It's going to be deep. So above her is the sacred hag. So this is about the cycles of the moon. And clearly, in this reading, we're talking about the Lion's Gate portal. All right? The eclipses, the succession of eclipses that happened. So what I'm getting is, go back and do some research about what the implications were for you as an Aquarius during these events, and understand that going forward, this process is going to reveal things to you and help you burst through some of the illusions that bind you in your current state of existence, so that you can go on your journey. And here's what the journey's about. Okay? I love the sacred hag. She's so awesome. Look at that. You see that? Okay, which way? There. Okay, so the rememberer of lore. Sorry guys, I still haven't built up the muscle memory to figure out how to move my hands. That's the human walk. You are going to experience this as a human being in your day-to-day life. There's something about your energy that you're feeling and becoming able to emanate from within you through the shift and change because of what happened, at these portals. Deep transformation based on the wisdom of the ancients. And the message coming to you from this passage to me, that's very profound. You know? Look, about this change that you're undergoing. Spirit says, don't worry. It might feel as though it's not what you expect, or it's incorrect, or you're afraid that you did something wrong because you're not supposed to be this way or that way. Okay? Don't do that to yourself, Spirit's saying, because you are in a process, and it's a very profound one. Very profound. Clearly aligned here on the earth with what's going on up above, so to speak, in the spirit realm. See? Both of these people, sacred instruments, both of them sacred cantors, bards, whatever you want to call it. All right? So this one had to find his instrument. It was stolen in a battle. And he had to go under cloak of night, sneak into the enemy encampment, and sit there and chant and sing the sacred songs that cause this instrument to literally lift up, fly, float through the air, and return to him. And by so doing, it turned the spiral, the sacred spiral of his own life, changing him forever. Isn't that exciting? And it's an adventure, the adventure of art. In order to break through the illusions that bind you, and I hope you've heard me talk about this card. I always go overtime. So that's one of the things I'm going to learn to manage. This is about a kingdom that didn't have enough water. So the factors of abundance. And the king sent 3 warriors out to find water. Each one of them came across this woman. Each one asked for access to the water that she had control over. And she said, of course. and the cost of the water is a kiss, and they weren't willing to kiss her. And so finally, somebody came along with an open heart and some insight and wisdom and said, "Well, of course I'll kiss you." And, gave her a real kiss with respect and dignity and love and gratitude for the gift that she was providing, life energy. There is some illusion that you are bursting through in some very profound ways. Look at all the ways that's signified in this reading. Okay? Bear with me. See? It's really amazing, this process that you're on. I love it. So I'm going to toggle back for a sec so you can see the cards. Look at the last card on the spirit realm on the right-hand side up on the top row. That is the elopement of skill. So you have the elopement of knowledge and the elopement of skill. You are going to be going through a very profound transition. And it is a transition that is going to be experienced very deeply in your day-to-day life because it is ordered through the spirit realm when the portals opened this year. And so what I haven't spoken about yet, and I'll take a few minutes now, is that, the metaphor of these readings coming out from the passage tomb has everything to do with passage, literal passage. And so I believe, and again, I'm not an expert on any stretch of anyone's imagination, I believe that my visit to these places in this time, given what's been coming through this channel, has to do with passage and ascension. This is an ascension story. It's about learning the skill, right? The elopement. These two were sacred lovers. Someone tried to keep them apart. This woman was turned into a fly in order to keep them apart. And so what happened was they were in this banquet hall. She was turned into a fly. She's buzzing around the room. Everybody's freaking out. She flew into the mouth of one of the guests in the banquet hall, regestated inside that woman. And it's all about magic, right? So these are fairy tales in a certain way. And was reborn. She was still herself, but she was vastly changed. And that's the story that we're talking about all the way through this reading. All the different cards that indicate that. When she was able to experience herself in this new way, with this profound shift that she had to go through, she was able to marry herself to spirit. This is not about lovers. That's coming. Spirit's going to let me talk about it after the turn of the year. But first, in these moments, Spirit wants us all to focus on our own individual development and do your best to understand that which is coming to you. Those are the words that are coming to me. Because what happened for this couple is they ran then to the fireplace because they wanted to escape, and they rose up. And this card, the last time this card came out was during the Ring of Fire eclipse. Look at that. Do you see the notifications we have about the eclipses in this reading? It's really clear to me. All right. So they rose up through the smoke hole, through the chimney. And when they reached the top, they turned into swans and flew away. So again, transformation and change and transformation and breaking through illusions and learning how to wield your power and your abundance. And those two sit together, let me toggle back, right next to each other, right? So do you see the card in the bottom right? So there's the transformation, right? And then we have the bridge card, which is about learning how to wield your power. One of the first things I think I was talking about. I was wondering where Spirit was going with that. So that you can break through the illusions. That which is sacred to you is somehow limited, and it is not limited. And of course, one of the messages in all these readings is apply love, because that's what had to happen in order to get the source of the water to continue to be able to flow. The kingdom had no water. And what had to happen was love had to be applied, gentleness, appreciation, and understanding in the face of something that looks horrific, like a hag. So, in that story, when the young soldier kissed this woman, in that moment, she transformed. And she turned into a very beautiful young woman. And, they got married and he became the king and lived happily ever after. It's one of those kind of fairy tales. But it is the process that they went through of transformation. And so Spirit's saying, you are both. That's what's coming through. So you are the hag and you are the young knight who was brave enough to set aside his fear and understand that love had to be applied to situations that look horrible. And then the process of having your sacred energy return to you so you can use it for this type of ascension and transformation, marrying yourself to Spirit. Steve, was it you that said something about that? I can't remember. Let me look through the chat for a minute. Hang on. Just give me a sec. Lower right resembles a scorpion. You mean the card, the Elopement of Knowledge? I'm not sure what you're referencing there. Steve, I think that was your comment. Yeah. Davina, I'll tell you, thanks for saying that about the reading speaking to you. I never know what's going to happen. Each reading is a real mystery for me. And I do my best to allow the energy to come into me so that the words just flow. And then I get these little downloads to sort of get me to turn the corner and stay on focus where Spirit wants it to go. So let's talk about the outcome card. That is the King of Battle. And the King of Battle was also, a lot of these these people in these cards, right? They're all mystical beings. The King of Battle, here's what Spirit wants me to tell you, had a part of himself severed. In this picture, he has a silver hand. And do you see how it looks like he's sitting? Where is he sitting? See that? You see what he's sitting on? Hang on a second. Let me toggle back. Give me a second. All right, so I'm going to transition back to the cards so you can look at that while I find the picture I want to show you. All right, so the King of Battle, in a battle, had his hand severed. He was not allowed to be a king and sit on the throne in that condition. And one of his devotees, is what Spirit's telling me, right? So one of his subjects that was very devoted to him made him a silver hand. And, okay, Spirit's interrupting me constantly, so I apologize. Keep hesitating. Spirit wants me to talk to you about the full moon. Again, talking about the eclipses on the full moon and the new moon. Do you see? The sacred hag has the new moon, and he sits under the light of the full moon. And I believe we just came through the new moon, and we are moving toward the full moon. That's interesting, isn't it? So there he is. He sits on his throne with a silver hand. Through some magic that happened, his real hand regrew and he became whole again. All right. So there he sits in that place. And I just want to show you something. Look at that. That's where this reading came from. And that's the outcome card for your reading. You are being, the message for you is to let you know that you are being led through a process to return you to your seat of power and your rightful place here on this earth while you walk through your life. I'm sorry, I'm getting choked up. Hang on. I want to show you the other picture if I can find it of this chair. Here it comes. Look. It's about finding your spot, literally finding your seat of power and being able to wield your energy and your vibration, your particular brand of vibration from Spirit saying, philosophically from this place. That is why I was sent there to gather your reading along with Leo. Okay? So, air and fire. Think about that. Those are the two readings, the two elements that came out. Is the other thing that I've been talking about. And I've been blabbing on so long today, I'm not going to have time to go into it. But I think much of that type of story came out in Taurus. So if you have some inkling, you could look at that reading. But I had to be willing to walk through a torrential rainstorm. The wind was blowing so hard, I was fighting against it, and the rain was coming in sideways to get to this place. There's always a reason for that, and that reason is wrapped up in this message, I believe. Okay, let me scroll back for you and get your cards in the view so you can see them. All right, spirits, there's a lot of emotion coming through my heart chakra right now. And Spirit is really here with you, and very grateful for everyone that's listening. So, that's what it looks like when we go on these type of journeys, and we have to meet our internal obstacles and release ourselves from that which keeps us from the place we are meant to be. You know what? There you go. And I think that's what this is all about. See how it's the elopement of art? There is definitely a journey so that you can move with your energy from a particular type of abundance into a deeper level of spiritual awareness and the abundance that comes from that place. I don't think this is a criticism in any way. It's just Spirit trying to use the illustration to get the message out. Okay? So the King of Battle was a real person. The myth comes from a real story. And he had to find his new seat of power because some part of him had been severed. And clearly, I don't know about you, but most of us walking this planet, we have to find ourselves. I suppose that's part of the reason for being here, is to find your power and figure out your own vibration, how that works, and what can come from you just as you walk through your life. That's a lot of the message that's been coming out. Just be in your vibration to the best of your ability. Learn about it as much as possible and understand that you have something that is sacred within you. Just the intention of it is to just emanate it. More than there is something to do. Spirit's talking about this again, right? It's not about doing. And a lot of people that I talk with, especially in the personal readings, we all want to know, well, what should I do? And I think I said that about myself, right? Well, what am I supposed to do with this? I don't know what to do. So for me, it was just go through your process. That's all you need to do. And it will create a vibration that is meant to be emanating from you. And when we are all, I think a majority of us in that place, we will experience a shift and change because we're making some kind, I keep hearing the words cloak. All right, that's the first time I've said that. But I've been calling it a tapestry. There's something happening. And each astrological set point, the development of that energy in the way that is meant for that particular set point is really important. So the message that's coming out, in a way, is the passageway through this experience that you're meant to have, because the solstice is coming up, and these passage tombs on the solstice, many of them are filled with a stream of light as the sun comes up. Otherwise, they're plunged into darkness. And so, people were cremated, they were brought to the tombs. I don't know because I'm not an expert, but the sense that I got was that the remains were moved around the various different altar chambers, perhaps with the seasons, perhaps through a series of ceremonies about shift and change and raising vibration. So that, actually, let me show you one more picture. So that when the solstice came, that was the day of passage, that the soul could move on when the sun arose. And I think, pardon me. So here's the picture, okay? So that's where the sun would come, all right? When the sun comes and fills up the chamber, it illuminates the passageway and the main altar. So we might find out that Mary Ellen's full of baloney, but that's what I believe. I believe that there is a transition that happens as we leave our bodies and we prepare to move on to the next realm. And we are having that experience while we are living in this time because of all of the transition that's been going on through the portals that have opened this year. 2017 is meant to be a transition year. And so Spirit's talking about our passage and wants everybody to know, at least through me, that's the piece of the message that comes through me, that when the solstice comes, the winter solstice, on the 21st of December, there is another portal. There is a passage that opens for us. And so we have been prepared, and that continues through to the end of the year. And I've been feeling some internal stress, as you can imagine, about how late in the month. The month is always almost over, and these readings are just coming out. So I'm just trusting that it is appropriate for whatever reason that I perhaps don't understand, because I'm a fussy Virgo. I want everything to be perfect, right? And none of this is perfect. So that's the other piece of the message. Do your best. Go on your journey. Do your transformations. Understand you are changing your energy, and there's something that vibrates from within you. And there's a passageway this year in 2017 in a particular way, like the portals at the eclipses, that is going to open. Okay, yeah. Wow. Okay, guys, apologies. Spirit's talking to me about hello, like this. Hello, we're talking about the age of Aquarius, okay? I'm sorry. I'm tired. I worked last night and actually I helped somebody pass over. So I'm tired this morning. A little dense. Sorry, Spirit. So it's 12:25. I'm sending you all a hug and a kiss, and I'm thanking you so much for being here with me and being patient while my tired brain was trying to get the message out. I'm going to move my screen over and just take a look at the chat while we say goodbye. And this video will be up at some point. I'll go back when I have a chance and cut off some of the fussy stuff from the beginning so it's not quite so long. All right. Thanks for your patience, for being here. I am so grateful to each and every one of you that shows up in these ways to collect messages because you want them. It means a lot to me as a fellow human walking this planet, wanting to see things change. So thank you, because I know you're working really hard, just like I am, each in our own way, right? Spirit saying. So, okay, Spirit saying love and blessings, and thank you. Isn't that beautiful? So let's see. Oh, hi, Medititi. I've been thinking about you. I was thinking about you in the passage tome. I would love to hear some things from you. Send me an email and tell me what's going on, okay? We did a personal reading. I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't be outing you that way. All right, let's see. Sarah says the spirals are the same from the same spirals that the Peruvian shamans use. I didn't know that. I'm so excited about all the things I'm going to learn from you. You have no idea. Davina, your business has to do with vibrational medicine? That's See? You already know. We all know inside of us. It just takes time to develop, and sometimes it freaks us out. Spirit says, don't worry. It's meant to take time. A year and a day or longer. My development took my whole life. All right. I'm 61 now. Um, so it took that many years, including this incredible house that just rose up almost by itself. I worked hard on it, but there was a little magical thing that happened someday, maybe, on the live stream. We'll talk about that if anybody has an interest. So, I was given this chamber from which to do this work long before I ever envisioned myself doing it. So trust. There are so many things that we don't know, and we're not meant to know them till the moment arrives. And now this year, at the end of the year, passage. So let's pass through together and, with excitement about what's going to unfold next. So, hugs and kisses, everybody. Thank you so much. And I've got to go load some pictures because Leo's coming out in half an hour and I'm not ready. So thank you. And I appreciate your presence and everything you're doing. And I look forward to speaking with you some more on the thread below the video. So feel free to put your thoughts and comments there because I love reading them. All right. And just, so sometimes I don't always I try to respond to everybody. Sometimes I don't have time, but I always read them. So if you put a message there, you know that I've seen it. Okay. Thanks, everyone. I'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day.